It's time for this week's edition of Talking Real Estate, and I'm joined in the studio, as always, by Wes Davidson from PRD Nationwide in Horsham. Wes, good morning. How are you going?
Very well, Nims. Yourself?
A bit cold, but getting
got
through.
The beanie on, mate. You're right.
Getting through, though. Now, we've talked about a lot of topics, but I want to talk about something that should be a rather simple one to define. Rental managers.
Yeah.
It's something that most people have to deal with, tenant or landlord. What exactly do they do?
Well, they're there to essentially manage the property for the landlord and to provide some risk management strategy. Really, that's what it is. You're trying to minimise the potential of the tenant doing the wrong thing or damage occurring to your property, all these things that can happen. So their role is to carefully select a tenant, number one, by checks and balances, getting the references and making sure that the tenant that's going into the property or is applying for the property is a credible person, and that should then be discussed with the owner because the owner makes the final decision. They need to do a condition report of the property, both before the tenant goes in and when the tenant comes out, highlighting any areas of concern, damage to walls or that, because if you don't do that properly, you have no claim at the end of the tenancy. You need to do routine inspections on the property every 6 months. Just to make sure that the tenant is maintaining the property in the right condition. The bond, which is after the condition report, you take a bond of a month, generally speaking, a month, and that has to be remitted to the bond authority within 10 business days, and a receipt's given not only to the agent but also to the tenant. So the tenant is aware. So if you're in a rental property, as you are, and you don't have a copy of your bond being registered, a receipt for that, you'd be going, well, where did that bond go?
Yeah.
Because that should be there. And the report, the condition report, also very detailed photos, because photos are very important. The quality of your photos and date stamped. If you do have a problem with VCAT, we need to make sure all those things are there. So it's really a focus on risk management, a focus on making sure that, and more importantly, a really good working knowledge of the law and the laws and regulations that pertain to residential tenancies and just general business dealings, because it's a big asset and you don't want to get it wrong.
That is true, because I'm sure in your time, Wes, when it has gone wrong, it would have been one hell of a horror story, wouldn't it?
There's been several that I've seen over the years in different places. I heard one story. We got someone I know sought some independent advice during the week regarding a similar situation. They were horrified to find out that their agent, who was managing their property, had put a tenant in the property without doing the checks and balances, didn't check the references. They did not take a bond. They did not do a condition report. They did not do routine inspections. And the tenant left owing money and having damaged the property. My question was, what were you paying for? Because the agent has done nothing there except put a bad tenant into your property, cause you some damage. That's negligent. And
sounds like left a landlord high and dry too.
He was a landlord, very unhappy person, and I suggest that he'll be taking that matter a bit further.
There's probably a lot of landlords right now just hurriedly getting in touch with their rental managers, I can imagine.
I think it's a rarity. I don't think too many people are doing that. And, you again, sit down with your property manager if you are a landlord. Make sure all those things I've just said are being done, because they're all crucial to you having a good property investment and a good experience as a landlord.
That's what the procedures are in place for, isn't it?
It is.
Well, Wes, thanks again for joining us for another edition of Talking Real Estate. And remember, if you want to catch up on any other episodes, make sure you head to the PRD website. That's prdhorsham.com.au. And of course, you can find them on the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and all the other stuff. But Wes, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks,
Chat
mate.
to you next week.
Cheers.